Hello and welcome to the second discourse of the Voyager Integration series. So in this discourse today I'm going to talk to you more about how to concentrate the astral awareness in the body, how to concentrate that awareness so you can build up a strength and power in your physical condition. It's the concentration of astral energy, the concentration of awareness, which gives power in the physical form, and it's the power and strength in the physical form that enables you to handle the stronger vibrations of the astral and ultimately enter into a deeper relationship with the power of source. This source is a very powerful intelligence, is a very powerful energy, and it's necessary to be able to integrate and ground that into the base chakra and concentrate it without any leaks. When you concentrate the energy from source that comes down in the lower chakras, you build like a base of power, and the bigger the bigger base of power you have, the other word for this is a sphere of awareness in the lower chakras. The more you can build this, the more power you have, and you can then use that power to either see and travel in the astral, or you can use that power on earth to enhance your circumstances and create more conducive conditions for spiritual practice. So there's two main things you have to do to be able to concentrate the awareness. First, you have to make sure you don't have any energy leaks. And secondly, you need to heal your shadow. So let's look at the second one first, healing the shadow. This is basically healing your darkness. As you go into a deeper spiritual awareness, you're going to be presented with your karma. It might be past life karma, it might be karma in this life, it might be fear, it might be karma from previous relationships. There can be a whole host of karmic energies that come up, and it has the energy of density, lower vibration, darkness, perhaps death. And it's these energies that you need to purify out of your body to be able to become stronger in awareness and ultimately start to transcend the human condition. So what happens is, when you have many astral journeys and you meet star beings, or you go to the central suns or the source, and you experience all this transcendental reality and this very profound love and the truth of immortality behind the human condition, as an energy that comes back down into the human body after those journeys, and it's a grace from the source, it's a healing. Sometimes I refer to this as love because it is love. It's a different kind of love, but ultimately that's what it is. It's an awareness that's going to help you to heal your earthly condition, your earthly karma, and because it's going to help you with that, it's very benevolent, and anything benevolent is therefore by its nature loving, and it's in the presence of that source love. It's more of a steely energy compared to the watery sentimental love that you often hear about and see in the spiritual communities. That's not the kind of love we're working with. If you want to really transmute your deepest karmas that keep you attached to the reincarnational cycle, if you want to become powerful, if you want to become a strong seer and very healthy in your body, you need to transcend the watery aspect of love, which is more sentiment, and move into the fire aspect of love, the steely kind of love that comes directly down through source and then enters into your root chakra, and that's what sparks off the very extreme healing processes that you have to go through at some stage or another on this path in order to attain a higher vibration. Now, it's not easy. I've been through all manner of experiences in this life because the power of source that I've had the fortune to access so many times is come down into earthly condition, and it's made me have to look at everything, reevaluate all of the experiences I've had in my life. I've had to deal with my karma, I've had to respect my awareness, I've had to concentrate my energy better, I've had to learn many advanced lessons, and that's what this healing, this love from source actually does. And the way we embrace with that process is we start to open up to our shadow. There's a temptation on the spiritual path to try and ignore the shadow and focus on the light, but that leads to an imbalance, because what we're looking to do is to transcend the either or, the light dark duality, because neither of these states lead to a unified consciousness. One has to have an awareness of the light, and then one brings it into the awareness of one's shadow, and ultimately, similar to a yin yang, you get a unified and transcendent reality out of the purification of one's shadow. So one's shadow is basically what you don't know about, the subconscious, the unknown, the bunch of karmic patterns, emotional patterns, energy dynamics that you have that ultimately will deplete your power and awareness if you don't purify them. Quite often they're around sexuality, around self-love, around power, control, holding your energy. All of these areas are areas that you'll have to work on, and working in those areas is going to force an inner energetic purification. So what you might find, you do a lot of fasting, dietary purification, or you spend a lot of time in nature on a retreat, and then you have lots of profound astral experiences, and it's very enhancing and uplifting. But then later you have to go full on into some heavy karmic density, and you might wonder what that actually is. Well, basically it's the energy of source trying to come down and establish itself more in the body. And when it's blocked from doing that because you have karma black stones in the base chakra, then you have to go into the base chakra and you have to purify yourself. You go inside yourself, you be honest with yourself and start to investigate where your darkness is, what themes of darkness, death, and decay are there in your energy. And when you can face that strong and authentically in yourself without shirking away from it in fear, you can actually transform those black stones of karma in self-purification, and as a result you get white stones. As a result, when you purify your darkness, the black turns to white, and the more white stones you have in the energy, then the more concentrated your awareness can become in the longer term. So this healing your darkness is a very important step on the path, and it's very important for us to do it. Whether we're male or female, doesn't matter. Both sexes have to open up to this higher love from source and allow it in here, allow it into the heart chakra, and look at where we're emotionally not straightened out, because if we're not emotionally straightened out in a few areas, that's going to show up as problems in the base chakra, which will then attract karma black stones or very challenging circumstances in your life that will ultimately force the healing, and you'll be forced to come back up here and open yourself up more to this source love. And when you let it in, purify, use it as a teacher, then it will come down. And ultimately, when you make the changes in your life that the source will suggest to you, ultimately you're going to push out from your base chakra the remainder of your darkness or your karma, death karma, and then the energy of source can come down in an unbroken current from top all the way through your energy system to the bottom. If you don't look at your darkness or try and bury your darkness or don't open up to the healing power of source love, as you try and draw more and more power in, sooner or later you're going to hit massive blockages in your base chakra, and that's going to show up as huge challenges in your life. When you do that purification in the base chakra, then you can push all that darkness out, and then you can have a much stronger earthly grounding with source. So that's the second part of the process, which I've just talked about, healing the shadows. So the first part of the process, equally as important, is making sure that you're not leaking energy. You can imagine like your base chakra or your astral sphere. Now you talk about astral spheres on the advanced path. Once you reach a certain grade of awareness, an astral energy will come down from source and enter your body and start to grow into an astral sphere in your base chakra. And this is going to give you an extreme amount of visionary power. It's also going to give you an extreme amount of earth grounding. It's basically concentrated astral energy, and it's the concentration of the energy that's the power. So to keep its power, to keep it concentrated, it's absolutely important and vital that you don't leak any energy. This is why on the advanced spiritual path is very advisable and sometimes mandatory to become brahmachariya, to like retain the sexual energies, because once you start building this astral sphere, if you go into sexual activity, more often than not, you're going to lose a huge amount of astral energy and forfeit the merit that you'll gain by accumulating this concentrated astral energy. Now, when you stop leaking in the lower chakras, you accumulate karmic merit like white stones of astral energy, and the more merit you can accumulate by purifying your base with white stones, the more it will cancel out the black stones, and ultimately you're going to become very karmically purified in the base. And that's the way you want to be purified in these times of coronavirus and everything else that's going on in the outer. There's so much turbulence, there's so much uncertainty, fear and contraction in the outer world. You don't want any of that snagging into your base chakra, onto any unresolved black stones that you might have there. When you don't have any black stones in your base chakra, nothing can touch you. You're going to become immune to trouble in the outer condition. And then you're going to be able to advance a lot more on the spiritual path without being impeded by all forms of contraction. So that brahmacharya practice is one of the most valuable things you can do is to give up the sexual activity, as long as it's done with the right intentions from a healthy perspective. So you're not trying to suppress the sexuality, you're just trying to retain and concentrate the sexual energy. And then in your spiritual practice, you're basically entering into a more loving and divine union with the source, with the higher planes. That's a result of brahmacharya, and that is far more favorable as opposed to using that sexual energy in the outer. You know, there's a stage in one's life where it's recommended to explore one's sexuality, to have experiences in the sexual spheres. Nothing wrong with that. It's a path, it's a stage, but as you progress further on the path, you'll naturally gravitate out of that. And when you can enter into brahmacharya, then you're going to start building this astral sphere, and that's when the real spiritual powers start to enter the physical form. So covered not leaking sexual energy by being brahmacharya. There's other ways you can avoid leakages in the base chakra, and that's about being in self-mastery, being in control of your own power, not getting caught up in power struggles and disputes with other people, other energies, other entities, whatever planes they may be on. You want to avoid getting caught up in any power struggles, because this also is a leakage in energy. And again, this is about purifying your energy. It's about looking where you put your energy, because sometimes if you put your energy in the wrong places, that's going to generate trouble, and then you're going to lose energy. So it's important when you become very spiritually aware to refine your relationships with other people in the outer, see which relationships are important to maintain and nurture as part of the soul group, whilst at the same time purifying out family karma caused to the family, and also karma with the human race as a whole. So the number of interactions that you have in the outer will naturally decrease, and it'll be about quality rather than quantity. If you have hundreds and hundreds of contacts in the outer, you're going to be pulled all over the place by all kinds of distracted energies and the energies of the karma of all these other people, and you're not going to be able to hold enough power in your base chakra. So this is why it's important toward the end of the path to become a bit more monastic in the living conditions, you know, withdrawing from the outer world in a healthy manner. You don't necessarily have to be in solitude. It can be as a couple, it can be as a group, a soul family, but ultimately you need to find your soul group or soul energy, and then keep your energy in that circle of people only, and then also that will enhance your energy in the base chakra. Because I can tell you, it's the truth, on the advanced path, it's once you have a certain level of white stones, you become energetically incompatible with some other groups of people in the human race, and sometimes some other groups in the spiritual spheres, light workers and new age people. They're all on a path. They're all on the place where they're at, but once you have a certain amount of power and energy, you become incompatible with them, because your energy is far more concentrated. You might have 100, 500 times more concentration of astral energy and karmic merit, and that differential in karmic merit ultimately forces separations in awareness. You know, it's very simplistic to talk about the 3D and 5D split, because ultimately there's many graduations of splitting and separations between various groups of people, and this is a natural process because some of us, star seeds, were very advanced on this path. We want to concentrate our energy, we want to become individualized in the presence of Source. We don't want to morph into a big spiritual collective mass of people. This isn't spiritual mastery. What we're looking to do is to find ourselves on a much deeper level, surrounded by a much smaller number of people, genuine, powerful, deep, and loving relationships, and having the mirrors around us that are useful for the inner development, but at the same time aren't distracting you and pulling you into the karmic stories of others. So part of this building the power in the base chakra is a huge re-evaluation in your life around all of your contacts, friends, the kind of work you do, the family connections you have, your relationships, everything. You re-evaluate it and then concentrate on the connections that are nurturing, life affirming, and very positive, and that support you on the path, and at the same time resolving the karma with people that you might perceive as lower density, so you come to a natural conclusion with those stories, so ultimately you can advance, because we're like climbing a very high mountain of awareness. You can't be roped into too many energies in the conventional humanity. So ultimately, the source that comes through enters here. Heart chakra is going to present a lot of lessons around human love, source love, more healthy interactions with relationships. And when that moves down into the base chakra, then you're going to be looking at lessons around managing awareness, concentrating awareness. And one of the key tenets on this path around concentrating awareness is, more often than not, there's many places where your awareness simply does not belong. Do not put it there. If you put your awareness here, there, and everywhere, you're basically what's called a light worker. You're trying to spread awareness all over the place in order to fire up awareness in other people and so on and so forth, to generate a big wave of collective change. Now you can reflect on how effective that really is in the bigger picture, and when it comes to the more advanced path, one day you have to make a choice about what you do with your awareness. Are you going to use your awareness to advance your own spiritual path, or are you going to keep pushing your awareness out into others, into the wider world, trying to change the world and trying to change the greater humanity? There's a choice there. You can't do both. It's either one or the other. Now, if you choose to do the light worker path, you know, there's lessons in there, there's processes in that sphere that might be useful to some people, but by and large, on this path, physical mastery, physical ascension, you're going to lose a ton of energy if you go into those spheres, or if you're already in there, if you don't remove yourself back out of them, because the idea is not to spread awareness everywhere. That's diluting, it's spreading something that's very strong, spreading it around. Instead, what you want is to keep the strength and do the opposite of being a radiating light worker. You want to be the concentrated shaman, meditator, spiritual master, whatever title you might think you have. ultimately the work is the same. You're concentrating your astral energy so you can attain a higher level of spiritual mastery. And by and large, that higher level of spiritual mastery is invisible to the world, and it needs to be concentrated and concealed in monastic conditions, because otherwise that radiation of increased awareness is going to trigger all kinds of trouble, and sooner or later, if you don't get that under control, you'll succumb to all manner of disputes and troubles that ultimately will kill you if you don't get a handle on it. I've seen how deep and how caught up in that kind of problem one can get. I've like purified myself in that area, and the result of getting my energy out of the light worker spheres is a huge recapitulation of my energy, much stronger concentration, and a mastery over my own power. Now I don't get caught up in all these power struggles in the light worker communities. It's possible to access a much stronger spiritual awareness in myself. And I've also purified the urge in here that I used to have, that every time I get a strong burst of spiritual awareness, to go out there into the world and quickly rush and share. That's something to overcome, because if you keep sharing all the time, again and again, you're going to lose everything. You're not going to accumulate anything in the base chakra at all. Now you can see why it's been 3 years since I made the last round of discourses, because I've been quite inner with my energy, very solitary and withdrawn from the world, and that is a necessary path. It gives you power, it gives you strength. It doesn't appear to in the beginning, but over months and years it starts to show the fruits, and you need to do that withdrawal of energy from the outer world, and you need to resolve those outer energy connections you might have with 3D karmic density, because you need far more fortunate conditions than most other people have in the outer. If you want to make huge spiritual progress on this path, you need to transcend the matrix. You don't want to be working all the time. You want to live in nature. You want to be far away from the cities. You want to be healthy. You want access to healthy food and supplements. And ultimately, this is going to require a huge amount of abundance. So that huge amount of abundance comes from having a huge amount of energy in the base chakra. And the only way you can build that huge amount of energy in the base chakra is to save energy. You have to recapitulate your energies on the outer world, resolve all those cords you might have to others in the outer worlds, and kind of bring it in a bit and concentrate it a lot more, bring it under a state of control and mastery, and then allow that sphere of awareness to grow further in the base chakra. The more powerful that astral sphere is, the far more paranormal spiritual abilities you're going to have. The access is going to be far stronger and far more potent. At the same time, the rules of awareness become far more strict. You know, the more awareness you concentrate here, the more strict you have to be in following the rules. If you don't follow what those rules are, then you're going to have huge leakages, and then you're going to have to redo a lot of your spiritual work, and you're going to have setbacks on the path. So you can meditate and contemplate everything I've shared in this particular discourse, and in the third discourse to pick up more about these hidden rules of awareness and how to make sure you don't get tripped up by violating any of these hidden rules of awareness. So that's all for the second discourse, and I'll speak to you again soon. Free spirit out.